A big, warm hello to everyone. Hey there, it's Susan Winter. So happy to have you join my show today. I have Bea and Gwyneth with me, my fabulous moderators. And today I'm answering one of my viewers' questions. You know, this is a sticking point that I know many of us have been in. We have all had that person that we know we should leave them, but we can't. And our fear of leaving is so much greater sometimes than the pain of staying. And interestingly enough, Phillipa, the lady whose question I'm answering today, I hope she's going to be on the live show. She said that she would. This is the second that I've done for her. One of her first requests came through, by the way, that's susanwinter.net. You go to the contact page where it says Q&A at the very bottom. And she sent it through and told me that she was trying to move on. So I did a video, which you haven't seen yet, but this is part two. She still can't move on, even though I answered her question via email. Um, Mel, hello. Shilly, hello. Liz, hello. Thank you. I look extra pretty today. I curl my hair for all of you. Now, watch. If you look at this 45 minutes later, it'll be flat. But I'm trying as hard as I can to, try to make it agreeable for you. Let's talk today. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? I'm Jean P., Nika's patroness. Let's talk about why you're still holding on, understanding your fears, how to get through it, something I call anticipatory grief, looking ahead. Oh, Lance. Lance. Lance Bird, love, love, love you. 99.99. Does this man rock or what? I adore you. Lance, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right out of the gate. I love you too. My very best to you. This is a lovely gentleman in the South. He has a beautiful lady that he's with. Liana is absolutely gorgeous, and they are a happy couple. This is a man who works on himself. Ladies, do not give up. Don't give up. They exist in the real world and they are here. It just takes a little bit of effort to find them. ET, how you doing, hun? GTA, how you doing? Happy to see all of you here. Let me read this to you. This today, we're talking about that sticking point of how to help you move on. Because if you had a greater thing to look forward to, everyone, you do it more easily. Okay? If you had option number 2 right in front of you, and number 1 is giving you a hard time, you'd be able to make that shift. So, hey, how are you? Very nice. Outie, ET, GTA will be back to live. Okay, let me read this for you. Oh, good heavens, $10. Jeff, how are you doing? Hi, Susan. We appreciate all your help. Thanks for being you. Jeff, did you pull over the truck today? Hey, listen, some people worry about truck stops and, these wayside pullovers. We got one good guy in a truck here that takes time to pull over and listen to the show. Hey, Terry, how are you doing? Yes, I am. So you never know, ladies, when you go to get gas, keep your eyes open for Jeff. You never know. Let's talk about this. Phillipa writes, Dear Susan, could you make a video explaining how to find the strength to end a relationship when clear warning signs appear? I saw the warning signs and I understood their significance, but I decided to move forward for 2 reasons. 1, my hope that something could change. 2, the fear of the pain I would feel without him. That's brilliant. We've all been there. Anyone right now who's stuck, who happened to stumble across this video, that's it. Is it not? That's it. The hope holds you in place. The fear, the anticipatory grief of what you're going to go through if you let go, terrifies you. 2 things holding you in place while you lose your confidence, lose your self-esteem, live with daily anxiety, feel neurotic, can't sleep, can't eat, sleep too much, eat too much, whatever. You're non-functional. You're suffering because of these 2 things. So let's unpack them. Okay, we're going to go right through this. We've all been here. I was here too. There are many factors why we don't let go. And sometimes they're very simple. You have limited options. You got the best of what there is, and it's rotten, but you don't want to get rid of it because there's nothing else. Got to remember what you were doing before you met them. Liz, that's beautiful. So here's what I want to talk about. You've heard me say this before, that hope can be harmful. We need hope to live, but when we are hoping for a miracle in a relationship where we have no evidence of them changing their position, except for the seconds of the little bits of this intermittent reward system that they give us, like bad, 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 a moment of being okay restores our hope. We're back in the game again. Oh, look it, they were nice to me. They called me. They actually sent me a text. I'm back in the game. It takes the littlest effort to seduce you to come back because you are hoping that that is the beginning of many more. But you need to sit back, track the entire structure like you're doing a chart. Nothing, 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 down, 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 nothing, nothing, down, 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 horrible, horrible, no contact, nothing down, made me feel terrible. Oh, sent me a text. The math is bad, but we lose our minds because we just want that dream of what they promised us. Because they did. They got us here. We're not delusional. We didn't just jump here by accident. We got here because they pulled us in. They made promises. They told us things. And now we're here. And it's our hope that they're going to come back. Thomas, how you doing? The breadcrumbs are no longer worth it. That's right. Ended a man 18 months ago and knew it was the right choice. Crazy thing. He still comes to mind sometimes. Yeah. But I am ready to join the pool, Susan. Good. Oh, Ilyana, 4.99. Thank you, my dear. First contribution from you. Do you have a question for me? If so, we will find it. I tacked that on an old-fashioned calendar. This is great. So hope can be harmful. Are you living on fumes, everyone? So Ilyana, just let me know if you have a question and we will find it. So do you understand how hopefulness, betting on this person, is harming you, right? Because they have a bad track record, but you're doubling down. So let me describe again an analogy you may understand. Have any of you ever been to a casino? Well, in America, it's or the Indian reservations has casinos. I went to Atlantic City with a fellow I was dating, and I saw a guy frantic at the tables. He was pulling money out of the ATM fast and furiously, and I was standing behind him because I was getting a little bit of cash for myself, and I could see the accounts just going down, down. I mean, he was what we call a degenerate gambler, and that's not to make fun of gamblers. I lived with a compulsive gambler, but it means that you're already at sunk cost. You're not getting it back. So econ friends, you know what I'm talking about. You are down so low in your self-esteem, in your happiness. You've lost so much. You dare not walk away from the gaming table of this losing person because you've invested everything. You've taken everything you have and put it into them. God forbid the shame. Yeah, the embarrassment. What you tell your friends? They've been telling you for a long time to leave this person. You're like, no, 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 no. It's gonna. What do you say if you lost again? How are you going to recoup your external reputation? How are you going to recover from the shame of the fact that you didn't leave that gaming table? And Ilyana, I see this. I'm going to try and cycle back to you here and hold on to this because I see your question. But I want to get through this. It's called sunk cost theory. What it means is you paid the price. You paid it and you paid it and you paid it. But hope makes you go back to that gaming table like, okay, I've lost so many times. It's just numerical odds. One more time. This has to be the one that hits. And it's not. This is where hope foils us. We're praying that that person that made us fall in love with them will come back. We are praying because they were there once. Where did they go? If they love me once, they can love me again, right? That makes sense. Except you are now in the world of attraction, lust, love, and human nature. Fickle human nature. That's temporal. Somebody likes you, they don't. They're in love with you one minute, they're bored the next. You're dealing with a human being. And this is where none of what you know in the real world applies. Because now you've got a very unstable factor from which you are trying to extrude some kind of data so that you know what's going on. It's just not going to happen. This is why hope is harmful. Now, I'm going to stop right here before I get into the second part of her question. Yana, hi, Susan. My boyfriend, now we met online through a dating site. Okay, that already makes me nervous. To keep it short, he wasn't honest about still using the app when he told me he wasn't. Okay. He was still using it a week before I visited him. Okay. Um, in early days, it's really important to set the parameters of your expectations. You might be afraid to speak up. Thank you for your contribution. I'm answering this now. Uh, we need to know filtering from the beginning so that we don't waste time and nobody bothers our mind with making us anxious and crazy. Do you have an intention of looking for a meaningful relationship? I could not believe that some 25 years ago I had to say, are you of the mind to be in a relationship? How do you feel about commitment? Would you be open to the possibility of examining a relationship? I can't be any more subtle than that. Are you open to the possibility of examining a committed relationship in general, not even with me? Like, where are you on that spectrum? So I think you were getting to the point that you were locking down where we're seeing each other, but he's still sniffing around. It's called comparison shopping in Susan language to make it relevant in the real world. They made a purchase, sort of. I don't know whether he's got you on loan or he's just put his money down. He's paying off his, layaway, but he's sort of made a purchase, but he just wants to make sure that he made the right purchase before he steps in all the way. I think it's interesting why he chose to lie to you. And I think that's the question. Not that he lied, that why? Is he so afraid of telling you that he's jumped ahead of himself? Or is he really not of the mind, or is he not certain about you? And this is where I beg you, all of you, I will say, please don't write it on my tombstone, for God's sake, if I have one, but you have to have the honesty conversation ASAP. When you're meeting somebody, first date, it can be two sentences, make it as simplistic as possible. Hey, look, I believe in honesty. I think it saves everybody a lot of time. If we don't like each other, we're not feeling it. You've got the freedom to say it. I'd like the freedom to say it. Are you cool with that? Done. Then, if you've said that, you can go back in and say, hey, we had the honesty conversation. Let's be real here. Are you not done shopping? No judgment. Don't come after them. No judgment. Just clarification. Your partner has to feel safe to tell you the truth, or they will never tell you the truth. Most people learn to lie because they don't want to hurt our feelings, but worse yet, they're so selfish. They don't want to be stuck with having to manage our emotions when we get out of line, or God forbid, have a reaction, get too sensitive, right? So that's how I'd handle this. Jyoti, nice to see you. Philip, how are you doing? Ilyana, do you think giving him another chance? Yeah, if you clarify it. Oh, okay, hang on. Hang on. Where is this? Okay, do you think giving him another chance was a mistake, or do you think we all lie to some degree? And how to tell the difference between a compulsive liar and one that just lies due to other reasons? Ask him point blank. Why did you feel you had to lie to me? If you weren't done looking, you're not done. But where are you on that spectrum? Just so I know where I stand. That's it. And if he continues to lie to you, Get out ASAP. No more discussion. Very simple. Okay. Susan says it's always worth trying once again. I do, but the situation will be the same. And then it's time to get your power back and leave to find someone who likes you. Yep. Yep. Is there such a thing as too high standards? If your standards are attached to your value system, no. Women are blunt with each other, rather lie to each other. Women aren't blunt with each other, rather lie to each other about beauty and values to be nice. True. Yeah. Yeah. We play nice, nice. Then you hear the girls say what they really think when you're not in the room. Um, I'm not sure what you mean, too high standards in regards to a mate. Let me go on to answer her question because today I actually can't go to the full hour. I have to stop a little bit early. I have an interview on camera. All of you don't know that because I have to take time off in the summer, I'll be traveling and I have other commitments throughout the warm seasons. I will be filling in the live show with interviews, either another video for you to watch that's new, of course, or an interview. I have one with Jonathan Asley that I've already shot. I'm doing Tarisha Young today from the UK, love her, and I'm doing another 6 or 7 people. So there will be items twice a week for you because people want it twice a week, and I know, yes. Okay, so let me get back to part number 2, and this is important for all of you. The fear of the pain I would feel without them. That's a real thing, okay? The fear of losing just somebody. And it's what I call anticipatory grief. You have excluded the fact that, yes, it will hurt. You might feel better. You're not thinking about that one, are you? You might feel better. You'll cry, you'll be upset, but you might feel better. Not wondering what's wrong with you and why don't they love me and why haven't they come back and like what's going on. Yeah, rip off the band-aid, Lisa. Yeah, that's right. We all love Jonathan Asley. I know. We talked about sexual preferences. When he brought that topic up on the show, I said, oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. But the way he laid it out was not like you have to do this, you have to do that. It was completely different. So you're going to like it. Hurt a little now or a lot more later. Well, maybe hurt a lot now and a little bit less later. So our fear of leaving them means there's pain with them and there's going to be pain without them. The difference is the pain with them where it is not changing and they are not changing. And you have assessed number 1, is there hope that they'll change? And they have not. It is at that point that you have to bite the bullet and say, because they have a track record of not giving me my basic needs, because I feel undervalued, deprioritized, because I feel I'm nothing to them, they're treating me horribly, and day in and day out, I feel rotten. Um, I will hurt, but it's too painful to be with them. Therefore, I must exit to be without them. So when the pain gets so heavy, that it weighs down the scales, that's when people leave. They leave late, right? So you've also pedestalized this person. They have become your person. When you put them on a pedestal, it's like they're the last bus. And I talk about that in New York City, everybody cramming onto a bus. And that there's another one, you just have to wait 5 minutes, maybe 10, but it'll be empty because all the people jumped on this one thinking, oh my God, there's no more buses. It's this desperation. And so, Philippa, if you're listening today, the desperation, the prioritizing him to be more important than you, pedestalizing him, making him the last bus, the only one, he's the only one, it'll never be another person. This is, you know, this is what's holding you in place. This is why you're so fearful to let go, because at least you have something. People are terrified to be alone, terrified. And yet, is the price of that anticipatory fear, anticipatory grief. Have you ever tried to be alone? I don't mean sobbing over somebody that's left, but I mean alone. I think I told you all about this. Um, I I was I had a time in my life when I had everything. Not that I don't now, but I mean, everything had culminated into the external representation of somebody that's got it together. I had a magnificent 3,000 square foot house that I built with my own money. I was living on a golf course. I was retired, late 30s. I had a Corvette, a BMW, and I was in rock hard physical shape, working, as a fantasy action figure and just kind of going to the gym all the time, looking for I knew I wasn't there. I kept working. I had shows on spirituality and higher consciousness. I kept looking for everything. And I was in a community where, remember, I didn't have a job. We didn't have internet really. So I'm in between, and I'd moved to a rural community where there was nobody that understood me or that had the desire to be my friend, really. Alone, isolated, limited selection, and feeling very much separated from everything because I'd changed as a person. I'd walked away from a lifestyle and entered a whole new lifestyle in a time and a place and a location that I was just a fish out of water and disliked because of it. And I found one guy, understood me, brilliant mind. And when that thing started to unravel, I lost my mind. I lost my mind because without him, I had nothing there. So that was in my experience. Now, unbeknownst to me and unbeknownst to him and all of those around us, he was devolving into paranoid schizophrenia. So all of my efforts to try and figure out what I did wrong couldn't explain why he'd kiss me goodbye in the morning and be gone for 3 days and come back like nothing happened, or be in the middle of a conversation and start screaming at me. I had no idea. That separate and apart, I've been here. I've been the gambler who couldn't walk away from the table because I invested everything. Okay. So I do know what this is like. And I know how hard it can be to wrench yourself out of it. And if you have to pull out piece by piece by piece, little by little, do it. But until you find a future forward that could be as exciting as where you are now, you will never have the strength to leave a relationship when you know you should. You have to hold out the possibility that something could be amazing for you. Amazing. But you just don't know it yet. And that's why I wrote Allowing Magnificence. That in the crisis of our very greatest challenge, we can't possibly imagine the birth of something so much better. It might not be a person. For me, it was a career. I'm here because of this. I didn't mean to be here. I could have been a great golfer if I'd kept playing. But okay, it's called Allowing Magnificence, living the expanded version of your life. It really addresses this stuff is not for nothing. Don't think small. It's a big world, it's a big universe. It's not about the person, it's about you. It appears to be about the person because this is where all the drama is happening. But we cannot find our love, happiness, self-love in another human being loving us back. We've got to do our own work. That person is not going to fix you. They're not going to save you. They're not going to heal you. Oh, they might give you a home. They might give you a body in the bed. They might give you a few things. They're not going to do your job for you. And you can't look to them to do it because they're human and they will fail you. They'll die. They'll change their mind. Something will happen. Okay. So the bigger picture is, where are you in this universe? What are you doing? Why has one human become the center point of your entire life? Look to a bigger life. Get a bigger calling than a human being. No offense. Love is great. It's wonderful to have partnership, but we lose ourselves when we make them our world. It is a challenge to love somebody with your heart and soul that you can't imagine living without. But knowing that you've got to keep yourself intact at the same time, it's a very difficult thing. How do I love myself and not lose myself in my love for you? But this is what's happened. Okay? It's you've got a bigger job here. You might not know it yet, but you do. You have a lot bigger job, and loving is a beautiful portal to the highest level of consciousness and to the highest expression of yourself. But it's not just one person. That person has been saddled with all the unmet expectations that we have not achieved within ourselves. We'll never be done. We'll never be perfect. Life will never be 100% for us. It'll continue to have challenges, and we'll continue to have the sand that chafes the oyster that makes the pearl. That's just the way it works. But take heart. If you can start to see the design, you can get in and get out and make it work for you. And I do know what stuck is. So please, please don't think I don't. That was a great love for me. And to be completely honest, I've never found that exact level of resonance again in that exact way. I have loved again beyond my wildest expectations, which was kind of a shock to me. So I think I've had two great loves. But I also moved on from all of those to do something else. And maybe there's a third, who knows? So that's where I stand right now. Let me see if, let's see. How do you guys work the fade in terms of a breakup? Are you talking about the slow fade? That's just a back, that's just like, that's like me creeping out the back door. Okay, so what do you have for me here? Let's talk because I want to be here to help you. I'm going to turn my total focus to all of your questions right now. Put them in super chat. Let me know what you want to talk about. You're the sweetest, wisest relationship coach. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love at first sight and first loves were toughest ones ever to go. I agree. You know what? The first love is the toughest. Oh my God, I had this guy who read my article. So before I did this, I was writing like a maniac, writing, 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 writing. You can't believe, how do I get to be number one in Google? I don't pay for that stuff. There are a lot of Susan Winters out there. I mean, I have so much content out here. So I wrote about the first love, and it's because you're pure. You've got no ego protection. You feel this thing, your heart whoa, comes right open, and you're a baby. You don't know how to tuck and roll. And you let go, and maybe they act like they did, but then they don't. And then they're done with you, and then you suffer. And it's horrible. It's excruciating because you don't have any experience in a backup plan. But I think nowadays we have more information and we can anticipate what's going to happen. And we've been listening to our friends and learning, and we've been evolving. So I think it might be a little bit better now. Yeah, Lisa, I'm sorry. Okay. You've got me through so much in the past 17 years with domestic violence and narcissistic abuse with my first love. It was so hard to thank you for your first time in videos. You changed my life. Oh, Fawn, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Captain America. Da, 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 da. Not quite Superman, but still. My ex chopped her hair to bob cut after the breakup. Note she is from Muslim conservative family, and she cheated on me with a few guys that led to the breakup. Interesting. Oftentimes people cut their hair when they want to shed that entire segment of themselves, or hair is cut out of shame or in mourning. Interesting. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? This is why, okay, so you understand why you're still holding on. Yes, you understand it's your fear and your shame that keeps you locked in there. You understand the concept of anticipatory grief. You're more terrified of the fear, projected fear of being alone without them. That how can you live through the pain? You're so much more concerned about what you imagine it's going to be than what it actually is today. So you're borrowing a very dynamic experience that you're projecting into the future will be your reality. Okay. Wow, Susan, you're the living example of turning lemons into lemonade. I would love to know so much about your journey. Can we do a live about you, please? Listen, all of you, so if you're not on the newsletter, you're not getting these things. Listen, I do not sell your stuff. I don't know how to do it. I just on my website there is a what we call a profile feature, and that's when a magazine comes to you and they're like, "We want to know all about you." So they asked me to tell them my story. I tell my story in Allowing Magnificence, um, but I also tell my story in this. It's called Voyage Phoenix, and then they did it again in something called Canvas Rebel. I didn't want to put them back to back, but it tells you how I got here. It only tells you the romantic journey. It doesn't tell you all this stuff before that time, which that's that was a loaded childhood. That was loaded. That was a weird start off. I grew up in a very in an exclusive community. Nobody would know about it unless they were from Minnesota. It's called St. Paul. There's a little township called Sunfish Lake. Everybody had to have at least 7 acres. We had 21 right on the lake because we had horses. My father sold off 2 parcels, so we had 7 acres left. And, 6 were for the horses, different pastures and different places. And you could ride around the Birch Bark Trail. And it was just these beautiful homes set back. It was that elegant, low key, comfortable, successful lifestyle. Um, but amidst that backdrop, there was a physically violent, mother who was drinking and a father who was working very hard to take care of his family, who traveled quite a bit, and a no talk rule. So I grew up with a very combative experience that as a child, you don't understand why mommy is beating you. You just don't understand this. And worse yet, I didn't want to attack her back. So that has made the decision that I think has carved a lot of who I am today. I think in some way, you try to be what if you have gaps in your family of origin system, I think you try to um, maybe fill them in who you are or in the relationships that you have. So I didn't have a mommy. Okay. I hear so many um, gals talk about their close relationship with their mother. I can't imagine trusting or feeling supported or having high self-esteem, because that's the mommy piece. How you view yourself in the outer world is the daddy piece. I had that one down. How you feel about yourself inside is the mommy piece. So I think for a woman who chose not to be married and have children, I think I've been a mommy many times over. I think I've been the mommy I didn't have because, would I would I've rather had a different scenario? Yeah. I would have loved to have grown up not terrified to go to bed at night. I would have loved that. But I also might not be able to be here today with all of you. I don't know. It's how it happened. I don't I can't change that, but maybe we can take what we're given in all of these experiences and go, okay, I'm trusting the world didn't come to just beat me up. I'm trusting that the world maybe is here to somehow help me. My only job is to figure out where the gem is in all of this pain, right? And the same is true in your relationships. All this pain that you're going through. Philippa, this is about you loving yourself more than him. This is what that's about. This is about voting for yourself. This is about not giving some, and that's not a young girl's game. Sometimes these things are hard won. You know, you don't. I don't know. I guess there are a lot of people that just grow up with high self esteem. They have loving parents. They feel good about themselves. I, I I don't know. I also never grew up with children. I grew up only with adults in party dresses. I think I climbed a tree for the first time in college because my boyfriend challenged me to do so. Um, I was only with adults. I remember in second grade, um, my vocabulary was so well developed that I said the word circumstance to a kid, and he thought I told him I was in the circus, and then he said that I was lying. It's just so I grew up with adults, and I had adult conversations and a very different experience as an isolated child. But somehow that observer thing, I think, has served me well today. Now, enough about me, but if you want to read the article, it's called Voyage Phoenix. It's called Meet Susan Winter. And I don't talk about the beatings. I don't talk about physical violence. We didn't have people then the children could go to. You didn't have social services for kids, and good families didn't do that. So, yeah, we didn't have counselors. We didn't have any of that. Children didn't have rights back then. So a lot has changed to the positive. So it's okay. We are where we are. You know, I think, Susan, can we do an interactive live where we can ask you about your growth and journey in a safe and secure environment? This is purely to learn more about you. How would you like it if we did a um, private Zoom where I can talk to you and you can talk to me? Um, I have been thinking for a long time that we might want to try that, but we would probably do it on a subscription basis on a short term. My friend has asked me to do what she calls in office, but it would have to be a small closed group so that you all feel safe, like maximum 20 people, 25 people. Um, so I'm thinking about that, but that's a good now you've incentivized me to get back to what I was doing before. Okay, wait, let me get back here. I see some contributions. Hang on. I don't want to lose you. Every time I touch this, it puts the thing in the wrong place. Oh golly, stop, stop, stop. Okay. 3590. Vlad, how are you doing? Hey, my girlfriend is avoidant, but I don't really care about the label. Good, you shouldn't care about the action. People should work on themselves and stop with labels. I 100% agree. Oh my God, I want to do a video on that so badly. She prioritizes work over me, and I feel like I'm drawing. I gave here all. Okay, so first of all, thank you for your contribution. She's not prioritizing you, and that sounds like that's what you need. So you have a choice. Is she going to do it? Have you expressed it to her? Give her a chance first. Say, look, I know work is important to you, but I don't feel like you're even taking me seriously. I don't even know why I'm here. I want to be here. Give me a reason to stay. Give me a reason, please. And then see if she does. And if she doesn't, then you have a hard decision. Yeah. This is your tank is on empty, my dear. Richard, $10. Thank you, Richard. Where do we have this here? Okay, wait, 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 wait. It's deleted. Did I delete it? Oh God, I didn't mean to. Richard, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to delete it. I don't know what I touched there. Oh golly, I hate this. Richard, write it again. I'm so sorry. I keep pushing these buttons. My computer screen is so. Marissa, there you go. I had a childhood similar to yours. I would just like to tell you, I see you. Thank you. I just saw your article about you going on 98 dates to show how to meet guys. Honestly, they were dinner dates and coffee dates. The people who interviewed me thought I was having sex. I nearly died. The word date in my world means I meet you for a date. And I decided I was going like 3 or 4 nights a week. It was just pulling on the same dress and going out. It was a nightmare. And no, no. And you know why? You want to really know why? I wasn't over the guy that I had stayed at the gambling table about. I was trying to replace him and I couldn't find a replacement. Susan, I would love that. Zoom would be great, Shelley. Okay, let me get back to you. I would have it be closed so that everybody feels safe, and I'd have it be a small amount of people, and it would be for a fee. But we'll have to figure out what's right. If one is initially comfortable in a relationship for months, Richard says, how does one know or should know when the growing negative or differences have become too much to bear? Is it just a gut thing? So, Richard, are you telling me that in the beginning it's good and then it starts to get bad and you're wondering how long is it going to get worse? I remember everything you've written. You're a very nice man. and you're looking for a committed relationship, and these ladies tend to fizz out on you and disappoint you, and they're not playing on the same level that you are. If you are ever in a situation that is quote unquote too much to bear, you have gone past your empty on that tank. Okay? You've gone past empty. So this is not something we want to indulge. Yeah? Richard, I urge you to have discussions early on. You're a man who wants a committed relationship. You're in here every week. You contribute to me. I thank you so much. If you are that serious, I want you to challenge you, because you might be too much of a nice guy to want to make them feel uncomfortable. I want you to say straight up, I'm looking for a committed relationship. I want to be really happy. I expect there are always going to be some differences. I'd like to know that we have the ability to work through these things and that you would be agreeable to that. And I would like us both to have the freedom to speak up. I'd like us to have the freedom to know that we can share what we would like, and that if there's something that we need, we feel comfortable enough to share that. Would you be agreeable to that? So you've already got them locked in. Listen, you click agree on all of these, apps that you have, right? And you don't even read it. Get them to agree to this, okay? And I think you won't end up asking these questions. Oh, Captain America, I have some guys doing that. I do right now. I've hired 2 fellows and I really like them. The video production company, though, that is cool. Oh, for free, because you're a great person. Captain America, why don't you write us at media at susanwinter.net and just write Captain America on it so I know what this is all about, and give us a little bit of detail so I can send it on to Lauren. Thank you so much for this. Okay. Vlad says, number 2, 1790. We took a weekend off. She says I'm insecure, but she's so shut down, young me, so I feel unwelcome. The best way is to break. We talked so many times. Vlad, first of all, congratulations. I bet this isn't your original language. I couldn't even begin to talk to you in your language. I think you know already. It sounds like you've given her a chance. This turnaround about you're insecure because I'm neglecting you is really offensive to me. And it's a game that people play. And again, I don't care what word you put on it. It's a mismatch. And somebody had written this before previously. When you have a partner who is unwilling to come to the table to keep the relationship together, at some point, you are going to have to make the decision about the true cost to you. And I realize that it's hard to throw away something that you like. Maybe she's beautiful, maybe she's exciting, maybe she's dynamic. You don't want to go back out there and look all over again. But again, we have an internal scale. It's always easier to leave when you've tried everything and you're just like, I know there's no other choice. This is it. It's not getting better. That's when you decide. That's when you break, because it's easier. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Those are good ideas. Richard, you're right. Take the reins. Richard, when you get in your car, I want you to look at your hands on that steering wheel. And I want you to remember you have the right, because you may not know that, you have the right to do the same thing in a relationship. As a very respectful, gentlemanly guy, I've got a feeling that you let these girls, you make the date, you probably pay for it. You let them kind of drive where they want to go. You're a nice guy. You take them out a bunch and then they kind of decompose on you. I don't think you've put enough in place to let them know that this is a serious job and you have expectations about being treated well. I've seen so many of your videos this week. Oh, yes, you've helped me so much. You're a gift to humanity, Susan. Thank you. Vlad, thank you. Vlad, she's not perfect. The dream that I built with her is perfect. Damn right. Keep that dream. Oh, and when you start to feel you're so weak, remember, you're so big and strong. I I use my own merch. I walk around with my own merch. Okay, Marissa, I can't close relationships because of my capacity to cope with the worst. Ah, the breadcrumbs and the bad behavior I get, unbearable for all, I tell, um, are bearable for me. I'm used to since childhood. That's not an excuse. Marissa, are you not Philippa? I think you are. So listen, here's the deal. You We can't blame it on our childhood. When you know, okay? Now this is a you thing. And I don't mean to be tough mommy here. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm done being nice mommy. I've told you. Now I'm going to tell you, here's what's going to happen. If you don't vote for yourself, it's not going to get better. I don't care what abuse you had before, we've been there, right? You don't replicate that in the present day. Those of us who have had our boundaries broken since day one, or even you're pretty good with your life and you get somebody that breaks your boundaries in, I don't know, your early 20s or your 40s, it's incumbent upon all of us to not replicate that trauma. Even though we have it, we've got to be even more vigilant that does this feel like something in my past? Oh, something I didn't like. You have to take the reins. We spend all our time trying to control them. You be nice to me because I'm uncomfortable, right? They're not. They don't care, or they don't want to, or they don't have to. I don't know. I don't know which of any, and it doesn't matter. We spend all our time analyzing them. You don't think I read 1,000 books? Men that are engulfed by their mother. This is that, why they can't love, why, I read all that stuff. 99% of the people on YouTube are trying to figure out what's wrong with their partner. It's not that way around. Why do you want this one? That's the question. What's up with me that I want them? What's up with me that I'm doing that I'm unhappy with these results? How can I tweak, shift? It doesn't have to be huge. Like in the case of Richard, it doesn't have to be huge. Just list the expectations up front. But you're the only one in control. When you turn over the wheel to somebody else, when you if you don't tell them what you want, you're going to get what they give you. That's another one. You'll get what they give you, and they don't want to give, right? We can't do that to ourselves, everyone. I got to keep track of the time here. I'm going to have to leave you pretty soon because I have to get ready for Tarisha. So just a couple more minutes, okay? First of all, thank you all for indulging me in that little sideways conversation. I want to remind you, go to susanwinter.net if you want to read these articles. If you're on my newsletter, those who sign up for my newsletter, I put out 2 a month. There are always specials and contests. The people that are having a contest now for a signed book that I send them for Allowing Magnificence, they were tasked for this. So this newsletter, I wanted them to write about uncommon love. It could be with your dog. It could be about, a friendship that you have. It doesn't have to, it's unconventional love. It could be that you have a relationship with somebody, I don't know, that has green hair and they're, 7 feet tall. Any kind of unconventional love story and in anticipation of Valentine's Day, which kind of has traditional models. It could, you fell in love with somebody you didn't expect to, or you found the greatest love in your life is the child you adopted. So those people, whoever wins, will be getting a signed copy from me. And we give lots of giveaways. We give giveaways of this consultation, so discounts on things. So take a look at the newsletter. You can unsubscribe at any time. Let's see, what else do I have to tell you? Take a look at Allowing Magnificence. I did turn it over to an AI for the audiobook. It's so much easier than just reading it. I think it's easier to absorb these things. And if I weren't so busy with this, I'd be writing more because I do want to do a second part of Breakup Triage. I really boxed myself in the corner. I wrote part 1 to absolutely require myself to write part 2 because it's enough in Breakup Triage to get through the eye of the needle, the initial bleeding out. You just found out that they're breaking up with you. But then the question is, now what? How do you move on? How do you deal with those starting to move forward, slipping back? How do you deal with imagining a future when they were your future? So that's another thing I want to do. I just need to win the lottery and get assistance. I need to have a full-time staff because I'm my admin for everything. Okay, all of you have been so generous. Lance, with your incredible gift. Breadcrumbs are for mice. Ah, you're so right, Susan. Why am I dealing with their stuff? Who cares what their label is? If it's a no-go, it's a no-go. Does it matter what we call them? I'm so irritated with this. Dismissive, avoidant, who's gluten intolerant, who's like got photosynthesis, sun damage, blah, 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 blah. I'm so tired. The bottom line is this person isn't loving you the way you want them to. It doesn't seem that any of your communication is going to work. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares what the label is? If you see it and it's bad behavior and you have had the communication to try to change it, and yes, you've tried to understand them, if they're not working with you, what are we to do? Tomas, 1000. Thank you. Thank you. Just a heads up. I love tough mommy Susan much more. Hit it hard. Most of us need that. Oh, God. Let's see, what time is it? I had a therapist who really failed me, and she should be hung out to dry and they take away her license. But when I was in the midst of all this with my young guy who was devolving into paranoid schizophrenia, and I didn't understand the multiple personalities coming at me, I kept going and complaining, trying to figure out what was wrong. And all she did was look up smugly and say, "It's not about him." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "It's not about him." She told me nothing else. And that was the moment she could have healed me and saved me a good 10 years of anything. And I'm going to tell you what she didn't tell me. I came in with a litany of he didn't do this, he did this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, all the complaints. And there was only one question I should have been asking. What is it about me that I'm here and I can't let go? Why does he have a hold on me? How can I fix that? How can I empower myself to have the courage to make another choice? How can I see what my analysis is so that I can change this dynamic? And you know what? Half the time when you do your part, guess what? You might have a partner on the other end who can actually respond. Because when you change your position on the teeter-totter, they are required to change theirs or they drop off. All of you waiting for them to change, all of you waiting for them to have better behavior, you do your digging. Do it diligently. Promise me over the next couple of weeks, if you're here right now, you look at yourself. Why am I choosing them? What are they hooking into? How can I change that? How can I make a better choice? What do I need to do for myself that I'm asking them to do for me? How can I do this and apply it to my life right now? And then how do I show up differently in this relationship? How do I speak to them differently? How do I tell them who I am and what I'd like to see? And if they don't do it, there will be consequences. I don't tell them there are consequences. I just know there are consequences. And you vote for yourself instead of begging them to change for you. Half the time, you'll find your partner straightens up because they're lazy because you let them be. And they're cheap with their love because you let them be. And some of them don't have love to give you at all, you or anyone else. And it's not about you. But this way, you know it's not about you. Everyone, I got to close for today. I will be interviewing Teresa Young. She's a lovely lady from the UK. I thank you so much for being with me. Thank you, Gwyneth and Bea, for being here every night. And thank you. Honestly, we'd love to have Uncensored Susan. You have no idea who I am until you get on a call with me. I'm pretty straightforward. See you next week, everyone. Thank you to those who contributed. Take a look at Breakup Triage if you're going through it. It's an audiobook. It's 33 minutes. It's free on Audible, a couple dollars on Amazon. Sign up for the newsletter. Come back next week. Subscribe. Tell your friends. You can do it. I know you can. Okay. Love you all. Thank you very much, Richard, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.